All right, so we're going to go live now. Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is Abhyuday Agarwal, COO of 𝗺𝗵𝗶, and we are today going to discuss how to earn 1.5 lakhs per month as an independent practitioner without all the fluff. So I've got a quick presentation to take you through, and I'm just going to put it up on screen. This time, post the lockdown, post the pandemic, has introduced interesting changes. Okay, and the conversation we're having today would not have been possible, let's say, a year back. While 𝗺𝗁𝗃o has been on a remote framework for the past 5 years, our team members work remotely. If you said that I'm a remote lawyer working for high profile clients from different parts of the country or different parts of the world, that would not have been so easy because it was important to meet clients in person. It was important to have a few, a few indicators of status if you were a successful lawyer. If you were a successful lawyer, you'd have a fancy office, you'd have a good office address. If you couldn't afford a good office address, you take a postal address at a premium office location so that clients could communicate with you there. The address written on your visiting card meant a lot, right? But you would need fancy cars, you would need fancy possessions, you would sign with a Montblanc pen. All of that was important earlier. It was the sign of a successful lawyer. That's what enabled you to charge a lucrative amount from a client. Now, of course, over the past few months, over the past few years, in fact, technology has made it really easy to serve clients from anywhere in the country and even anywhere in the world. We've been covering how Indian lawyers can access paralegal opportunities based in the US or even globally, do international contracts related work or be paralegals to US lawyers who are in the US sitting right here in India. Now you can all now post the pandemic, technology has really made it possible for us to work. Let's say you're in Nagpur, but your clients are in Bangalore, Delhi, and Mumbai. You can serve them, and in Ahmedabad, you don't have to fly to meet them. The pandemic has made people way more comfortable to remote meetings. Now, even traditional offices, because of the virtual court hearings, almost everybody has become very comfortable communicating online. Nobody, no clients, irrespective of the nature of the business, even if it's a traditional business, people are not insisting on in-person meetings to build rapport, to start off interaction with you, right? So that means that you do not need to be focusing on in-person meetings. Completely delocalizes the situation. Cost consciousness of clients has increased. Their awareness has increased. They are aware, they look for lawyers on the internet, and they're aware that many lawyers are providing solutions, and they're very cost conscious. One, because they want to see return on investment for the legal costs that they have to bill, that they have to pay to a lawyer. Even the pandemic has hit cash flows, right? The people have faced cash flow issues. The country's growth rates, economy's growth rates got hit. So clients are being very, very cost conscious. Okay, so there are these three or four trends. One more trend is there, that the rate at which new legislation and regulation is being passed has increased. You can track this right from this decade. We're in November 2020, but if you look at the volume at which new laws have been implemented right from the beginning of the decade, from 2011 onwards, has been phenomenal. You've had new practice areas emerge left, right, and center for big law firms. I'll give you some examples. In the area of the whole media and entertainment practice really kicked off once in 2012 after the Copyright Amendment Act came into picture. Then after 2015, when the OTT app started to gain some traction, Netflix was available and others. So it was around post 2015. Media and entertainment started emerging as a new practice area. White collar crimes has emerged as a new practice area. Competition laws, which was the Indian Competition Act was notified a little around 2011. Okay, that's when the practice area started emerging. Then you had IBC, you had RERA being notified in 2016. And then RBI has been introducing a huge amount of legislation on financial technology. So the fintech and technology laws is a new practice area. Data protection is a new practice area, starting with the introduction of the GDPR and now leading up to the passing of the personal data protection bill. Okay, not passed yet, but lined up for the next year. So new practice areas are emerging really fast with the volume of new legislation coming into picture. Okay, now these four trends taken together are creating a huge opportunity for independent practitioners to succeed. What is the nature of this opportunity? You can be remote. You need to offer ROI, return on investment, to clients. They need to see value for the money they put in. Okay, and there is a ton of work that is available. There's lots of new work available. So if you're a practitioner practicing for 30 years versus somebody who's practicing for 3 years, and a law was notified only 4 years back, you are equally placed. Technically, if you look at the age or the jurisprudence behind the law, there's nothing uh, extra that a senior practitioner with 30 years of experience has access to that you don't. Right? If you compare this to an area of law such as, say, constitutional law, okay, the senior practitioners, a senior counsel with 40, 50 years of experience in courts may have argued all the cases personally, which were the defining moments of the legal system of constitutional jurisprudence in 1980s, 1970s. Okay, and you'll be pitted against such a person, and that will be difficult. That will be a difficult obstacle. But if you look at the newer areas like white collar crimes, fintech, media and entertainment, IBC, competition, all of these, there is a whole lot of, you could say, democratization, or in a whole different way, you're placed on a similar footing to senior lawyers who may have way more experience as far as the playing field is concerned. Okay, so now, if that's the case, there are certain additional assumptions that we need to look at to be able to take advantage of this opportunity. What are the additional assumptions? Okay, because if we don't question our assumptions, so I am saying that there are certain assumptions which are holding us back. They are preventing us from leaping at this opportunity and building our practice. Now, what these assumptions are? Okay, the assumptions are: one is this: having a fancy office, a great office address, and expensive cars are necessary for success. And how does this assumption impact us? Firstly, the problem is that you will be focusing on the wrong thing. You will be increasing your costs. And imagine yourself negotiating with a client. Okay, and let's look at the directly how this will apply. So a client is negotiating with you that, should I give, why are you charging me so much? Will you say that, this goes to financing my BMW's annual maintenance, or does this go to the maintenance cost of my office? Directly you will not say, right? On the other hand, the client is asking for a discount. Okay, or um, you want to demonstrate value, so you can very easily say that, the reason I work remotely, don't fly down to your places, because so that I don't have to bill you, and so that I can give you a more efficient service. So what a client is going to appreciate when they're talking about rates and discounts is not an argument on your office costs. Okay, these were indirect signals to say that I'm a better lawyer. But today, clients don't need these signals because of the volume of information that is available on the internet about different lawyers. Okay, and about the personal relationship building activity that a new lawyer can conduct, because technology exists to do that. Okay, what is this personal relationship building activity? I will get to in a moment. Okay, but for sure that this kind of a tag will not work to justify your pricing, nor to signal that you're doing well. In fact, it might turn away an ROI focused client, that, that this guy is definitely going to charge me 5 to 10,000 or even 50,000 extra just because his costs are so high, right? So that is what you have to know. Then another common question which arises is: training with a senior is important for delivery, business development, and client management skills. This really means that you, as an independent practitioner, are relying that a senior will teach you not just how to do the work. That is one level of reliance. There are two other levels of reliance which go a little off track. We think that seniors will help us out even in training us with client management skills. They will help us out for even learning business development skills. Okay. Now, and how does this hurt us? A lot of times the services that we provide as independent practitioners who are, let's say, after 2 years of work or after 1 year of work, you went independent. Okay. First limitation is the quality of service that you'll be providing a client will be limited by your 1 year of experience, and you got to break past that. Okay. But you can't stop yourself by thinking that the senior will first train me. I'll tell you why. If you are with a senior lawyer who's got 20 years of experience, and let's say he litigates in NCLAT, Supreme Court, and High Court, okay, his practice is going to be different from your practice. In fact, if the practice was built 10 years back, the way technology was used, Zoom sessions were not happening, Zoom didn't exist. Google Hangouts also became, on YouTube became very popular a little around 2014-15, not before that. Okay, so the way a senior lawyer would have built their practice, the kind of clients they'd have got, and the kind of clients they'd have served would be very different. Now, I'll give you another example to explain how the situation when your senior would have built the practice and the kind of client development skills they would have used would have been different from the client development skills needed today. Okay, it is almost to say that today I want to build the country's biggest law firm from scratch. Okay, and you start doing the same stuff that all the big law firms already do. Now, if you look at the newer law firms that are growing and recognized for their work, whether it is Ikigai Law, Spice Route Legal, Indus Law, okay, you will see that each of them has been carving out a niche with a particular kind of clientele, with a particular kind of practice area. Okay, they are not going on exactly the same target audience that the bigger law firms have done. Why? Because that market is captured. So a new market has emerged, and a new market needs to be dealt with in a different way. And the techniques of business development will be slightly different for this kind of an audience. Okay. Now the other, of course, we've been having a lot of conversations about how at work, when you're learning under a senior, of course, you only learn the work they practice and not the services that you would think of offering. A lot of times you're not exposed to a lot of the newer services, cutting edge services that you can offer. Okay, and we're going to deal with a method that you can use to not be limited by, let's say, 2 or 3 months of the 2 or 3 years of experience that you've got, and expand your learning way beyond that. Okay, we're going to discuss a method where you can focus on an industry sector altogether. Okay. Now, first generation lawyers do not stand a chance in comparison to second or third generation lawyers. Now all these thoughts and beliefs are very, very disempowering, and they stop us from doing our best. In fact, they stop us from even trying. Okay, they stop us from taking the next action to talk to a potential client. Right now, what is the issue with this assumption? Okay, I am not saying that this is false. There is an assumption, there's a problem with this assumption. Okay, and I'll tell you what the advantage that a second or a third generation lawyer has, if he or she is in a court. Okay, if he or she is a second generation lawyer who goes to litigate, is that you will have more recognition amongst your father or relatives clientele. Okay, so you'll get more introduction to clients who have litigation matters, and the bench may recognize you. Okay, that is one benefit that can be there, and that puts you apart. Doesn't disentitle a first generation lawyer, but definitely there can be an advantage in the sense that your first few clients who come for your litigation matters will be way more high profile if you're a second or third generation lawyer. But there are few other disadvantages to being a second or third generation lawyer. Okay, and these are advantages for a first generation lawyer. What are these disadvantages for a second or third generation lawyer? If you are let's say working in a law firm, okay, if you're a second or third generation lawyer, of course it'll be way easier to get a job. But the kind of networking that you need to get a job, the kind of skills that you need to get a job, that is easily coverable. Like coverable in the sense that gap can be very easily covered by somebody doing independent work on training yourself to get the skills, to build your profile, to build a network for a period of 6 months to 1 year. If you do this consistently, you will be at par with any second or third generation lawyer who wants to work in a law firm. Okay, I can guarantee that. Second thing you need to know is that being a second generation lawyer comes with a lot of baggage. Okay, the baggage is that you have a benefit which makes you comfortable to access the opportunity of the previous generation. Okay, it also makes it more difficult to experiment and break free from the earlier. It makes it difficult to break free from what is already expected of you. So you will be that much more closed to new opportunities. It will also hurt to experiment with a new area. Okay, which can be turned by an independent practitioner into their advantage. If you're a first generation lawyer, you don't have something to prove, you don't have a legacy to inherit. You can start from scratch and build a customized kind of practice, catering to new niches, catering to new areas. There are so many occasions when I speak to independent litigators, and they come to tell me about these myths that about each of these aspects. Okay, and I ask them, "Are you in court? Are you litigating in a district or a high court?" They will say yes. Then I say, if you want to build practice, is it important for you to just build your practice in the court, or are your clients' revenues and the work also important? They said, yeah, even that is important. Then I asked them that, is it necessary for you to only practice in court, or can you do other legal work also if it is profitable and helpful for you? They say we are open. Some of them say no, it's not, but some of them say I am open to it. If you are open to it, then you have a very, very big chance. In fact, there are strategies you can use as an independent lawyer to build a new kind of supply for your litigation work. Okay, I give an example of how, as an independent lawyer, somebody can do contract drafting work, insert the right kind of arbitration clauses, so that 2 to 3 years down the line, when there are disputes arising from those contracts, you get the arbitration work. Okay, and there are so many young lawyers who say I want to do arbitration, but they don't get the matters. Okay, now this is, for example, an excellent strategy to get arbitration work. Okay, I cannot compete with big law firms in terms of expertise or my resources or my pricing. Okay, for sure, you may not be able to deliver to the same kind of clients whom big law firms cater to. But please understand that your own cost structure, your clientele, and the value proposition will be different. A big law firm cannot outmatch you on every kind of value proposition. I'll give you an example. Okay, one of the major problems faced by clients when they go to a big law firm, apart from cost, is the fact that they don't get enough partner time, and that means that there isn't enough quality work according to the client. Okay, and because of cost concerns, a big law firm will be constrained in giving partner time, so they will divide the time amongst associates and senior associates. You, as an independent practitioner, if you have the skills, you have the insights, and especially if you have insights on multiple areas, your inputs can be way superior to what a big law firm can provide, provided you've got that kind of skill set. Okay, and you can give that same quality of input at a much cheaper cost to a client, and it's which is a different client. Now there are some clients which will only go to a big law firm because that's what they've been doing for 20 years. If there's a mistake that is made by the big law firm, they can tell their investor, they can tell their board that this is the best law firm that exists, so I am not at fault for going to the wrong lawyer. But there are thousands of clients, in fact lakhs of clients in India, for whom cost is important. But it's not just that they will go to the cheapest service provider. Cost is important, and they want to measure value in a lot more detail. So if you are able to demonstrate that you're giving them value and keeping the cost lower than what a big law firm gives, you will be able to get the client. And also, the other thing to keep in mind is you cannot exclusively do the same thing that the big law firm does. Now, what does this mean? Okay, so if a big law firm is serving a client with 10,000 crore or 20 billion or $50 billion turnover, you're not serving the same client. Okay, you will be serving a client who has maybe 10 crores, 50 crores, 2 crores turnover. Okay, will you be serving them on the same need? Maybe the big law firm is working on VC investment, angel investment, and all of that. Now, will you be doing that? You will be doing that for your client. Okay, and your client's need and your client's questions, somebody who's scaling up from, let's say, 1 crore to a 10 crore turnover, will be quite different from what a big law firm is going to be working on. At $50 billion level, if you are scaling up, you're going to look at private equity. What you as an independent practitioner are going to look at is Series A funding or venture capital funding, and this is going to look different. The questions, the documentation, the way a client perceives value is going to look different. The way a big law firm is going to format a document, it's going to look very different. Clients are going to pay a premium for the look and feel. You will also need to format it in a certain way to make it look professional. But there are certain things the client will value more. They will value substance way more than form. and they will value that your communication way more, your standardization of process way more than a lot of the frills. Okay, so there is definitely an opportunity to build your own niche and stay there. And in fact, I know there are my friends who've got small law firms whose clients trust them so much that they would only go to them and not to a big law firm, even if a big law firm gives a cheaper rate than the independent practitioner or the small law firm owner. And the small law firm owner is earning more than a salaried partner of a big law firm. Okay, so understand the economics. Okay, this happens, it's real. Okay, now let us look at what is actually needed to succeed. Okay, and why do lawyers not already do that? And I'll give you a simple calculation, and I'll explain also why it works. Okay, and I will take your chats also in the end. Some of you have been asking questions. Okay, so what is needed to succeed? One important point which we miss out is an industry focus for legal services. What do I mean by an industry focus? Uh, Usually, as lawyers, we have studied 50, 60 subjects in law school, and we look at it like this: maritime law, family law, intellectual property law, constitutional law, tax law. Now look at a business. Okay, does a business have to categorize these different areas, or for a business it's all integrated? So a business could be in the technology space, it could be in the manufacturing space, it could be in the retail space, it could be a cab delivery service, there could be various kinds of businesses. Now you want to it could be an OTT platform, so it is in the media and entertainment space. There could be a construction company, so you want to focus on the industry. Okay, if you're focusing on startups, for example, it's going to be startups uh, with 2200 employees and revenues of 50 lakhs to 10 crores. Now that is how sharp you want to get, and you have to remove the idea that I do all kinds of legal work and people with all kinds of work can come to me. Okay, that has to go away, and we have to be very clear, this is the industry we serve. Now that industry we have to serve end to end also. Okay, what happens a lot of times is that we are not solving the problems of the industry end to end. I can say I'm a technology lawyer and I do technology law work. Now what does that mean? Should I only do technology contracts, data protection issues, advise on drones, drone privacy and other issues around drones, advise e-commerce companies and do contracts around those things? Or should I also look at investment transactions that a technology company takes up? Should I look at corporate governance issues that arise in a technology company? Okay, now that is the important part, because what happens is sometimes we get too blinkered, and this especially happens if you are, say, doing a registration service. Okay, trademark registration service. Some people will do trademark registration and prosecution, but for whom? For everyone? All right, if you're doing it for everyone, then you are playing a volumes game, because you need enough clients to give you that work. Once a client comes, you do that work, it's over after it's gone, right? So you're not catering to the whole nature of the client's work. You're getting it, the client may have a tax issue, they may have some other issue, they may have a contracts issue, they may want to monetize their IP, there may be some connection of their IP, there may be some services they need because to prevent their IP from being infringed on the internet. Okay, so now for those things there are related services you can add, and even if you stick to IP, you will be able to add at least 10 new services for monetization and protection if you're just doing trademark registration and prosecution work. Okay, now what most people do is they stay either at the entry point and just stick there, or they go wide. Like I was giving trademark registration, now I'll give you all the registrations in the world. Again, lack of industry focus. If you want to cater to only restaurant industry, you want to get them FSSAI registration, fine, you do FSSAI, trademarks, employment, and then go deeper, go into other issues, employee termination issues, contract labor related issues, go into contracts, go into more stuff. Okay, but cater to one industry, but cater thoroughly, so that if you get a client, you can realize maximum revenues, because the kind of client who's coming to you wants a one-stop all solution. They want an outsourced general counsel effectively, or a lawyer whom they can trust with everything. So it's like a mini law firm you are running, but at a smaller scale. And sometimes, of course, because the company is smaller, you won't have so many facts, the fact situations will be a little simpler, but they still want a one-stop solution. So you want to, now you can't give one-stop solution to all industries in all areas, so you want to focus on one industry. Real estate, okay, Let me help developers with different kinds of legal work, starting with sectoral real estate focused work, but other things that a real estate developer may also face. Then you need clients who have the ability to pay and the willingness to pay for legal services, right? So what are now, you can't have, if you're thinking as far as generating revenue and money is concerned, for that I'm saying, I'm not saying that this is the only work you should be doing. I'm not saying that for sure you must do work that makes a difference, that pro bono work, all of that. But for the revenue part of your practice, you will need to cater to clients who have the ability or willingness to pay. By definition, companies would have the ability to pay, so you want to look at companies which are generating revenue, and there they have a need for legal services. But when lawyers come to me, they say that, okay, I want to do work for companies and I'm looking for a job or I'm looking for a retainer mandate. And then I ask that, what is the work you can do for them? They are like, I can do a few commercial agreements. Okay. Now, do you understand that this is on the surface? Like, it doesn't help me appreciate how you can solve my problem. Let's say today you want to go and buy a laptop or a phone or a TV screen. Okay. Even if you buy a TV, you are going to compare TVs from different brands and you're going to see which one is better, more features, more value for money, better testimonials, right? If you're doing that for a TV, why will people not do that for a lawyer, right? So if they are coming to you and they're saying that, okay, I want, if you want to work for a company, you will have to actually identify that what are the problems you will solve for a company. And any business has a cycle. Okay. What do I mean by a cycle? There are, one is that there are many departments in a business, many aspects of a business, so you can help various business functions in different ways. So when a business is small, it's in the idea stage. When it's ultimately hitting success, it's going to go into the IPO stage, raising money from public markets. Some businesses will be operating in India, but they will raise money from foreign public markets, something like what Make My Trip did. Okay. Now, question is this, that between this, what are the different phases? A business will go through the hiring stage. A business will go through the sales and distributorship and the franchising stage. It will do its marketing. It may set up its online retail store. It may so now it may hire employees, of course, to expand operations and all of that. It may incorporate offshore subsidiaries. So now these are the kinds of things that pertain to the business cycle, which one has to figure out, that how do I help a business address a problem that they have. Okay. Now, which are the clients who have ability to pay? Three kinds of clients. Okay. Clients or who have the ability and willingness to pay. Clients who are going to jail. Okay. If clients are saving money, that is in tax litigation or similar litigation. Or third, if you are helping them do business or save money in other ways, not from the government or not from certain transactions, but in a different way. Like let's say I have a huge risk of disputes from from the people who distribute products to me, and while I've made the payment, while I have rejected certain products because their quality was not good, but I fear that owing to lack of documentation, I may receive a legal notice from them at any point in time. Okay. Or so these kind of situations can arise, and these create open business risks which are uncapped. Sometimes there will be situations where if I can use a contract to plug my business risk, I will do that. In fact, if I'm going to professionally raise investment and look at raising venture capital, private equity, or go to an IPO, I would need every aspect of my business legally documented, right? So now that will make me reduce risk, and it will enable me to meet a regulatory requirement uh, where I need to enter into those contracts. But it will definitely commercially reduce risk for me. So that kind of situation, clients will pay you. Now, so we have identified the industry. So how to limit our industry? You'll need to do this for your practice, by the way. Huh? Then clients who have the ability to pay, you've just identified. So within the industry also, you will think that, okay, am I helping somebody do business faster, more quickly? Am I saving them from future legal costs? Am I helping somebody do better tax planning? Or is there a notice they've received from a tax authority? If they defend it properly, will they save money? Am I helping somebody get out of jail or preventing them from going to jail? Okay. This is going to be very important. A lot of times individuals may not have the willingness or the ability to pay, but yes, to get your practice kickstarted, or for or in certain exceptional circumstances it can happen. For example, if you're doing matrimonial cases only for celebrities, okay, or you are helping independent film producers get into product placement deals, okay, there are examples of situations where individuals may want to pay, but a lot of times they do not, and their need is not recurring, in the sense that they'll do one thing and they'll get done with. But however, yeah, of course, if there's a celebrity and they're doing celebrity endorsements one after another, or if there's a sports star who's doing endorsements one after another, there the need is going to be recurring. But in a lot of cases, this kind of need is not recurring. Okay, now you want to you want these people, you want these clients to have pain points which are recurring, like multiple clients should face that. Okay, you, if you're, for example, what could be a equivalent, if you are basically arguing a basic structure case in the court, there should be 100 clients or at least 100 future matters where you can use that and challenge statutes for clients based on, say, based on the argument that this violates the basic structure. Okay, so the recurringness of that has to be there. It cannot be one time I did this and now it's over. Okay, because that means that that got exhausted there and I didn't solve a pain point. Now, most of us as lawyers, we say that I do RERA work, I do consumer cases, I do family litigation, I do matrimonial cases, not clearly addressing a pain point. Okay, like I can help you enforce employment contract from breach by employees. I can prevent your IP, I can help you prevent IP from getting stolen. I can help directors from, I can save directors from the risk of arrest, okay, or risk of misstatements in any annual reports. Okay, that's a pain point. I can what else can be a pain point? I can help you plan transactions in a way that you save costs and tax. Okay, that's a pain point, and within that pain point there may be 20-30 services. You may want them, you may need to advise them on subject 1, subject 2, then you may need to do some transaction, some contract review, you may need to do some contract drafting, you may need to do some litigation. Now all of that falls under different subjects, it doesn't matter, and different forums, different kinds of legal work. But we are looking at the situation in the way that the client will look at you, right? So we want to find out pain points which are recurring. If there is an OTT platform or over the top services platform like a Netflix, Amazon Prime, Voot, Alt Balaji, any of these, their problem is going to be pain point. Uh, how do I acquire content? How do I create original content to which I have IP to? How do I maximize the value from my distribution? Okay, how do I create more regional content? And what is the legal work needed to do that? How do I prevent piracy? Okay, how do I prevent someone from, let's say, using a VPN legally? What action do I take if I find out that somebody from India was using a VPN to access US content that Netflix provides? Okay, now that's a pain point, and you want to find out valuable recurring pain points. Okay, is my voice clear or is it disturbing? Okay, then discoverability. Okay, so this is the back end, right? Industry focus is your prep, clients who have the ability to pay is your preparation, pain points which are recurring is again your preparation. Now that preparation, how is it going to count? 2-3 steps. Okay, discoverability is one. Somebody, a client, needs to know that you exist. Most of the times we don't. I know of people who don't have an active LinkedIn profile. I know of lawyers who are networking with other lawyers but not networking with clients. I know lawyers who say I only want to talk to the in-house counsel or the general counsel of the company to get legal work, but they don't want to talk to the sales head, the business head, the finance manager, the HR head. Okay, but those are also places where you can get work from. Okay, now so how should clients be able to find you? Okay, now I am going to focus on the incoming part and not the outgoing part. Outgoing meaning, I'm not saying that you initiate a one-on-one conversation and cold call people. I'm not saying that, no. Okay, you don't want to solicit, you don't want to do that. So people, the clients will find you because we discovered this. People are googling, clients are searching on the internet for their pain points, and you know where people hang out, right? People are hanging out on Google, they're searching for information, they're watching videos on YouTube, and they're using social media to interact. Okay, even if they are on Facebook or Instagram, they don't mind receiving relevant information, right? So if they find you or somebody else share your content over there, then they will find you. unconsciously if it's on their news feed, consciously if somebody shares that content, or if they search for something. Let's say somebody searches for how to get a microbrewery license and your content shows up, or somebody says what to do if I lose a case in the CIT appeal, or another person says that how do I get my article 226 writ petition admitted. Okay, or somebody says that how do I look, somebody looks for how do I get a proof of claim rejected by the resolution professional. Another person says how do I initiate proceedings in an international commercial arbitration, can I get heard through video conferencing by an international institution. Okay, so clients will Google that. People who are facing pain points will Google that. People will not Google services, and they will not Google service providers. Okay, so they will not Google like uh, they will not Google I need a notice of commencement of arbitration. Why? Because this is technical. A lawyer has to go through the facts and understand and identify that. But they may Google what to do if I don't get payment on time, what to do to break free from a contract. They may Google a few things like that. Okay, general stuff. And then you have to drive from the general to the specific so that people discover your content. Okay, it's not easy to do. You might think that I have to keep only the basics, but when people write general stuff, they just don't write to any point. That happens a lot of times. Okay, so writing to the point is going to be really important. Then so discoverability, then thought leadership. You are discovered, but how are you discovered? Are you discovered as just another person in a yellow pages directory, or are you being perceived as a thought leader by potential clients? Okay, what does thought leadership mean, by the way? Is it that only people who are 20 years into the profession can only they can be experts? Like when we started Super Lawyer and we used to interview lawyers, so many successful lawyers, according to us, they said that I don't have enough, I don't think I'm a super lawyer. Okay, so they had an issue with the some attribution of status to them. Okay, now point is not that. The point is that you have certain insights that you can acquire and share. If you don't have, then please acquire and then share. But those insights are not going to be measured by how many years you spent arguing in court, or how many years, like when did you graduate and how many years of experience you have. That is dead experience. Unless you, if you say I argued like 100 cases and I have spent 50-60 hours arguing in trial courts, that is some experience. But most lawyers do, for most lawyers experience doesn't go like that. Experience is just like 8 years of experience. Okay, it's very generic. If that's the case, then what happens is that you can beat that experience by something as simple as writing 50 articles on a particular topic. And I'll tell you why. If you write 50 articles on a particular topic, let's say international commercial disputes, okay, and where you focus on arbitration and mediation being used, and you also write about how to draft contracts better to minimize the chances of dispute. Okay, if you write that, then chances are that you will develop, you will be working on a problem way more. So your thought leadership is on the pain point. Okay, your discoverability also is around the pain point. It is not on I'm the best lawyer who drafts arbitration documents in court. Okay, no, I am the, you have to be working for more and more hours solving a problem and producing work. Okay, now that work, even if it's not a not a court petition, not arguing in the court, but you've written on it, and you've written in a way that somebody can understand it, chances are that you would have developed a lot more expertise than somebody who goes to court and practices. And this frequently happens. I've got 1 year of practicing experience, and yet I have been able to guide people on important areas. With people who've got 7 8 years, 10 years, 20 years of experience, I've helped them identify issues that they never thought existed on different areas of law on which I didn't even practice. So the why does that happen? Because I didn't go to court or I didn't work in a law firm after 1 year of practice, but I've been spending time, more time than them, thinking of the problems that a potential client faces. And I have been thinking of the subject in 10 different directions. So if they were doing civil litigation and arbitration, I was looking at 10 other ways of how the other side can enforce things against them. So what matters here is that how powerfully you are thinking of the problem, how much effort you're spending on it, and what results you're producing after that. And you can produce that result in the writing. And now this is the biggest invention or the benefit that you can have in this decade. Okay, because well, everybody doesn't get arguing time before a Supreme Court bench, but you get everybody has the same amount of opportunity to write and publish great articles on the internet. Of course, you need to learn how to do that, how to express yourself, how to write more, how to take out time, and for that help is available, but the opportunity is the same, right? Then what else do you need? You need a bouquet of services, right? From there are two concepts, okay? Gateway services and high value services. The problem that people have is that they either have only gateway or low value services. So they'll only do trademark registration. After a client has got one or two brands registered, unless they make 20 brands, their one brand is registered and it's sorted. Now, trademark registration, you have many competitors in the market. Company incorporation, tax filing, tax returns, you have many competitors in the market, can't charge a lot more. But now imagine you got the company incorporated, that client has scaled operations by 100 times. Okay, so from a 10 lakh company, this has become a 10 crore company. Don't you want to solve a legal problem for that client? Right? And you can literally talk to the client about what's going on in their business. And if you know that how a business works and where a business faces problems, you will guide the client to those areas to say that, no, I don't have anything to deal with this. Can you help me here? Okay. Now that is a high value service, and the more high value services you can deliver, the more clients you can get, the more profitable your practice will be, the more revenue you will realize by serving one client. Okay, which means you will be willing to invest that much more in client generation, because one client is worth a lot to you. Okay, and that also means that you will have a lot of patience for a client, and that also means that when a client asks you for a discount, you will not get frustrated and angry and you will not blast the client, but you will be like, okay, let me explain why this is possible or why this is not possible. But your patience will be higher, your capacity to accommodate the client will be higher, right? And you will look at client generation in a very, very exciting way. Okay. Okay. Now, rare skills. So I have written this specifically because you want to continue to build skills in an area which is not being served by others. So 20 people should not be competing for the kind of service you're offering. In fact, it should be such that once you once you delivered some services to the client gives you a matter, and then if they have to think of another lawyer, they'll be like, man, it is going to be so problematic to even brief some other lawyer to give them all the documents and to explain. This guy is tried and tested, and I can trust this person, and I would have this person do everything else. Uh, if I try to give it to another lawyer, firstly, I have the risk that that person may not perform. Secondly, there's a ton of coordination that I have to do. Okay, so that level of solution orientedness you will need to have for the client. And it's easier to demonstrate. The only thing is that we are happy to do legal work, but we are not happy to talk about the legal work in a way that matters for the client. Okay. There's a question that has been asked by Bijal. How can one approach this type of gateway service offer to a mere trademark registration client? So the trademark registration client is what? This is the person who has come to you for a simple service. It's a low end service, but a great one, because without a low end service, you cannot offer a higher end service. Okay, so you do the registration work, and that's perfect, right? What did you do? You just registered a brand for somebody. Then you'll say, okay, I have studied your business, I see you have a website. Now how are you checking that other people are not infringing your brand either in other parts of India? How do you check that somebody doesn't come up accidentally with a similar name, start using it, and then become popular in a different state? How do you prevent that kind of thing from happening? Now that enables you to escalate one level. What does this enable you to escalate to? A trademark watch service, where you will do searches both on the trademark registry, trademark site. You will do public searches also on Google and other tools. And you will file oppositions at the trademark registry. You will file cease and desist notices. You will prepare reports. If the company is a subsidiary of a big corporate, you will prepare a report for the board every quarter to say what were the results of every week's search or every fortnight search and what actions have been suggested or not suggested. Just furnishing that report has a cost because you've worked on it, you spent time on it. Then you will say that um, you've been, how are you planning to monetize this brand? Have you thought of franchising this? Then you will say, how are you scaling up? When you scale up, are you looking at VC or PE investment? When are you expecting the next round? They say, okay, I will do it I want the next round of investment in the next 3 months. Then you'll say, okay, how are you preparing for it from a legal perspective? Are your documentations in order? Because if an investor comes, they will have a law firm do the diligence. And if you need the money quickly, you will need to ensure that the diligence shows everything to be in order. So I can help you prepare for that. Would you be interested in that? That allows you to do a legal health checkup. You can do that at a nominal cost and then recommend 5 other things they need fixed, and they will find perfect value for it. Okay. Then if they are dealing with a situation of downsizing, you can say, I can help you do this legally in a clear way. Okay. A lot of times, if you look at how companies downsized during the COVID lockdown, law was changing so fast. It was different in different states. Sometimes you could downsize, sometimes you couldn't. And a lot of times it was lawyers who were drafting all of these documents, but there was a lot of social and communication angle involved, where people were clear not to offend employees. So it was not like the hardlining legal way. It was done in a very, very cooperative way. And yet saying that, I have no other way to pay, so this is what we have to do. And employees agreed, even though the company legally couldn't have done it. Okay, but employees agreed. And commercial situation demanded that. So lawyers were literally getting into the middle of business and running the show for downsizing. Okay, so these kind of problems will keep happening for clients, and you have the opportunity to serve them with it. Right? Now, the other thing is, now I said that you will be discoverable by clients, and you will have this kind of thought leadership and track record. They'll find out about you online. Their friends will talk about you, right? That is one thing. Now, that is generic. It is credibility. When clients think of you, they will think that you are some kind of an expert. Second step. How do I know? I know that you're a reputed person, but how do I know that you're the right person for me? For that, I need some taste of interactions with you, right? I need to have some sense of how you operate. I may need to have worked with you, or at least had some communications with you. Usually this is a one-step process where a client comes, lawyer talks to the client, and then says, I'll send you what needs to be done with the court, you pay or don't do anything, right? Or you can leave. Or there's one meeting where the lawyer gives one free meeting, and after that the court is there. These courts are usually fairly expensive, and then the client may ask for a discount or walk away. Alternately, the client will say, no, give me a retainer quote. Your one work quote is too expensive, you give me a retainer for everything. Now, if you could extend this interaction to a longer phase, because it's not giving you enough time to demonstrate the value for that client to build trust. Okay, everybody's doing the same thing. You elongate this process from one meeting to 4 conversations and reduce your time. Okay, I call this an onboarding process. This is a potential client onboarding process. Okay, where what you do in the first meeting, that free meeting you called, you reduce it, you listen to the client maybe only for 15 minutes and do offer a requirement analysis. Okay, in the requirement analysis, you will be talking about the client's business. Now, many of us don't know enough to ask about the client's business. And the second thing we don't know is how do we connect the business to the legal services. The third thing we don't know is how to deliver those legal services we identify. Okay, but if we knew these 3, then we can do a requirement analysis. After we do a requirement analysis, we can tell them, okay, great. Now this is what you need. Let me offer you something small that I can do for you at a really dirt cheap price. Nobody can beat this price. Do that. And then you say, now these are the 10 things you need fixed. This is what I charge. Okay. And they will, and that after requirement analysis, the first thing you did is your gateway service. That's the low cost solution. We recommend you do trainings because trainings don't have out of pocket cost from your end. It gives you opportunity to face the client's people. It gives you opportunity to interact with the client and get more information. And that builds trust because you've spent energy to give them value and they didn't specifically ask for that process. So that blows them away, literally. Okay. And that builds the trust. Then what do? Then after you give this, then you can give them a full roadmap. You need these 10 things fixed. This is the quote. You can pay me for each of these individually. This is the time it will take, or you can give me a lump sum. This is the discount for a lump sum. You have so many apps on the Play Store or the iOS store where there's a discount if you pay for 1 year, and there is a different price if you pay for a month, right? So you can do that. And because the client was getting a high value in every interaction, they know if I talk to you, you're going to offer me value. And they also know there's a cutoff point. After the roadmap, I'll stay in touch, but I'll not offer the services. So there is an approach you need to take, that I am giving you this, I'll do the legal work. If you don't want I will not do anything for free other than that. I've given you the free training, or I've given you a very dirt cheap registration service. Now after that, if you want to talk, I'm there to talk. Okay, I'll talk to you, I'll say what the concern is. But if I'm delivering service, I'm always going to charge. So the client is going to run out of things to talk. Okay, if you have people who are going to take, you will very soon be out of people who want your time to go to another lawyer also. If you develop this approach, you will say that this is the service you need, now we need to start, otherwise I can address your questions but your problem will not get solved, right? Then the other thing is, at this point when clients don't pay and go away, you will need to act in the best interest of the client. Most of us think that if the client went away, then our opportunity is lost. No, this is a longer game than that. The client may have changed, the business need may have been different, or you may not have been able to identify the business need this time, but next time you may be able to, or the client may have gone to a cheaper lawyer and later on you may come back to you, or may have gone to another lawyer who's just not as good. You don't know. Maybe the client will not come back, but in a lot of cases the client will come back later if you're doing your job the best way. Plus, add in another process of sharing information that may be relevant to a client. You will know that, okay, this client is doing well, can pay me, definitely has a need. Share relevant information one-on-one on email when you find it relevant. Okay, if you see that, okay, RBI is planning a certain kind of move, there's a discussion paper on something, you will share that, and then you will say that these things will need to be done, and the client may come back to you. Okay, or you will once in a quarter or once in 4 months, you will catch up with them and say, okay, just wanting to understand how your business is going. These are a few new things that have been happening in your space, and how you're dealing with that. Let them talk to you. Okay, that will help you. The more information you have, provided you know your stuff, now people struggle with that, but the more information you usually have about the business, the more you can extrapolate, the more services you can identify. People struggle because they don't know how to connect the business information to legal services, and they think that, what do I offer you? But that gets fixed if you have the right legal knowledge in place. Okay, then you need an approach which takes cost benefit analysis and ROI into account. It's damn difficult. Try to negotiate with a client and say that, when a client says, why are you charging me so much? Usually lawyers are stuck. They are like, you need to invest to get great quality service. Now this is abstract, right? Any cost benefit analysis has to say that your cost without this thing fixed in the right way is 100 times, and you need to be able to justifiably do that. And if you get it fixed the right way, it is 1x. If you get it fixed the wrong way, you save a penny, but you are pound foolish because your 100x still stays. Your risk doesn't reduce. You get it wrong to save like 0.5x. You want to save 50 paisa and increase your risk of 100 rupees, that's your call. Now, how well you justify depends on your own comprehensive legal knowledge. It has to be literally 360 degrees. Right? If there is an IPR dispute, you need to know when will the client go to, what are the remedies they can take, when will they challenge your mark for cancellation or for rectification, when will they, or when will they initiate, let's say, an infringement proceeding, or when will they do something, when will they initiate an arbitration. You will need to know that. Then time spent working on solutions to the problems. This is the important bit, not the number of years of experience you've had. Okay, if you can just be clear with this now, you will get so much power that, imagine, okay, what would a philosopher like Socrates or Plato, Aristotle, what would they do? They would solve a problem, they would think of an issue and work on it and produce writing on it, right? And lawyers' work is very similar. It is working on a problem for a long time, and then you may use the fruits of that research in a court argument. How do you demonstrate your research? By writing. So your time spent working on the problems and their solution is important. Okay, and the client will connect with the problem. The client will not connect with the solution. Okay, the client will connect with the problem, and you got to be moving one step ahead from the solution to the problem. So for you, it's reverse engineering. Okay, it's like you want to dumb down from the problem, from the solution to the problem, and then you want to say, I have spent whatever these many hours working on it, right? Now, how many hours do you need to work and what do you need to change? For what? For the topic, we said 1.5 lakhs in a month. Okay, I'm going to give you a very simple calculation that will leave you stunned that this is what it takes. And then you'll be surprised that why like thousands of lawyers are not doing that. Okay. And trust me, if you look at the income tax returns of people filed, there are enough people who can pay you. You can have enough clients to pay you 1.5 lakh a month. Okay. How many hours do you need to work? 8 hours for 25 days at 1500 rupees per hour for half the time. Okay. So I'll do the calculation right now. Okay. 25 days, 8 hours is 200 hours. Out of that, leave out 50 hours for business development. That leaves, sorry, leave out 100 hours for business development and credibility building and one-on-one interactions, all the free service in the world. Okay. So that's 100 hours still billable. So you have to ensure that your value is enough to charge 1500 rupees per hour for 100 hours of work. Okay. But you'll work 200 hours. Okay. Now this price is as cheap as a gym trainer or as a class 10 or class 12 tutor. Look at it now, 200 hours you're charging 750 per hour. That is what a gym trainer, class 10, class 12 tutor will charge you in India today. Okay, so the problem is not this. Okay, and it doesn't mean that tomorrow you go out and ask a client, charge them this money, they will pay. It doesn't mean that, right? Why? Because there are few things that we haven't done in this process. You will be able to charge this. So your question will be, do clients still pay us on an hourly billing basis? Because this is a model that big law firms have been using across the world and top Indian law firms use, and clients are more cost conscious. That's what I've been talking about. So clients, do they pay us on an hourly basis? Now look at what I'm saying. Okay, the whole strategy that I talked about involves you to identify the problems and the most important solutions that a client needs. Okay, then it requires you to identify key how much time will it take you to give each service, each part of the service, and then say what is the cost. So 1500 per hour is not uncapped. The client won't run unlimited bills. There will be a total lump sum cost estimate with a back calculation that I need 3 hours of this, I need 4 hours for this. By the way, most of the clients' own employees will not be able to give a justification for what they do 8 hours working in the day. Okay, but you as a lawyer will be able to do that. That is what will impress a client, and then you will say, I will charge this much. They will be like, wow, what a professional lawyer, I have not had such a lawyer before. Okay, so literally if you look at a problem statement, this is what you've got to figure out. How can I earn 1500 per hour for 100 hours in a month? You'll work more. Okay, you'll not chill the whole month. So you have to average out 8 hours of work, but you're charging for 4 hours a day. Okay, that's literally the problem statement. Okay, now why don't more lawyers do this? If it is so simple, why are lawyers not doing this already? The real skills are outside the domain of what we learned in law school. None of these subjects, what I spoke about, onboarding, writing articles to build your credibility, people have written in law school journals and various other academic publications, which is great to do an LLM, great to get a teaching job, great to get high points on the UGC framework for the teaching job. But for clients, it's a different thing altogether, right? So negotiating your pricing with clients, introducing a new service, all that we didn't read while we were studying the different subjects in law school. Okay, the other big barrier, we are always relying on ad hoc learning. Let me get some experience first, then I'll go independent. Let me first get a job and then I will go independent, and that never tends to happen. We are left waiting, right? Then a lot of us are focusing on being penny wise and risking being pound foolish. At the end of this session, I will tell you, okay, this is a special offer for you. You can learn all this. You can learn how to offer these services. There is a lot of guidance available for you. But you will be like, no, it costs so many thousand rupees. It costs 50,000 rupees. No, I don't want that. Instead, let me be where I am. Okay. Why? Because I have not tried it before. How do I know what results will it give me? Right, so we are focusing on being penny wise. 50,000 is not a penny wise thing. I'm not saying that it's cheap money. I am saying that if you can earn 6 lakhs or 1.5 lakhs per month is 18 lakhs a year. then will you pay 50,000 for it? Because the money you pay, the value is determined in terms of the cost, and that is what you have to explain every time to a client, that what are they paying and what are they getting and what matters. If it matters to you that your current income you want to double, triple, or quadruple, then the question is that then how do I do? So in that situation, what happens for us a lot of times is, oh, I don't spend 50,000 rupees, doesn't matter what I get. Okay, I don't spend that money. Then it will be hours focusing on what's tried and tested, focusing on being penny wise, pound foolish. But the risk is that time passes, we don't get the results that we want, right? Then not spending enough time on building your credibility and nurturing clients, relying disproportionately on isolated instances of awards, press coverage, or tags. What does this mean? So if you're spending 100 hours on billable time, 100 hours on non-billable time, we literally don't know what to do in those 100 hours. How do I start writing an article? How do I get quoted in the newspaper? Okay, those are the things that you can figure out. But more than hacks, it is hard work, okay, and learning. Okay, not that a lot of people think that, okay, if I get an Ivy League LLM, that will help me in starting my practice. How is the client going to connect that your LLM with the quality of service you offer? They want to see that you're doing that work today, right? So it can be another thing that you're doing, but what you want to do is directly go to the client. Okay, so it's not about the awards, it's not about the press coverage, it is about, can a client find me and trust me for work for which I need to spend time writing, sharing individually sometimes that, okay, this may be of importance to you, conducting webinars to educate my target audience, conducting requirement analysis. In the scheme that I'm talking to you about, you will need to spend at least 2 to 3 hours a day working on requirement analysis, 1 hour writing your articles and studying. Okay, otherwise that doesn't happen. Now this is a function of consistency and consistently doing this work. Okay, then limiting your practice to specific work but not catering to the entire needs of the sector or the industry is a huge problem. Okay, literally it's like this, that you are paying for the whole buffet in a hotel but having only starters and going away, but you paid for a 5 course meal. Do you know when you paid for the 5 course meal? When you did all the client generation work, that's when you paid for a 5 course meal. But you took the starters and went away. Why? Because your appetite for the buffet isn't there. So you got to grow your appetite, right? So that is important. Next, as the industry is evolving, a lot of times we are going back to the same models and paradigms that our seniors used. And we are not looking at, oh, how can we serve the industry in a new way? Today, lawyers are spending time reviewing TV show scripts, movie scripts for legal risks. They are reviewing ad copy. Sometimes branding agencies need lawyers to see what are the suggested marks, what marks are risky before they give this to the client. Lawyers review software workflows for data protection related work. Lawyers review actual business operations, or they will review business conduct to identify whether there's an anti-competitive angle. Okay, when privacy by design becomes the norm as per GDPR and other privacy laws, then lawyers will actually review the whole function of the app to see whether privacy is incorporated as per principles or not. Now that's new kind of work, and you don't get that work by arguing for 10 years in a litigation scenario. Okay, this practice is altogether different. So we have to expand our horizons and what we think of being valuable legal work as the industry is evolving, and it is evolving really, really fast. And guess what? A lot of the legal work is given to you by fast scaling businesses. They're scaling up because they are technology based, and venture capital has enabled them to scale fast. So a lot of these people do not have 20 years of experience before they started their venture, which means they trust in the idea that lawyers don't need gray hair to be successful. Okay, now I'm going to share this unholy trinity of ineffectiveness. All these points I wrote to you about add up to this. Okay, this is basically self-doubt. What stops us from getting clients? Self-doubt, lack of skills, environmental reinforcement. This is all the others telling us, if you're not doing this, then what are you doing? If you're not going to court, then what are you doing? Okay, or a lot of things like that. You need 20 years of experience. You're a first generation lawyer, you can't do it. So there is environmental reinforcement. There is some self-doubt which comes from lack of skills and lack of confidence. And lack of skills is the objective one, which is measurable. How can you step outside the triangle? You need to attack one point. Which point can you attack? You can attack lack of skills. If you attack lack of skills, fix it, get a client, so you will be able to build your credibility better and speak to a client better, deliver better services. Once you get a client or even an incoming request, your self-doubt starts to go away. Once you serve a client, that's even better. Get the money in the bank account, superb. Okay, that starts to erase your self-doubt. Over time, this evidence becomes big enough to displace any environmental negativity that exists. Till then, you need support. Okay, that okay, I need to fix my lack of skills, and then I need to, my self-doubt will get addressed. Environmental reinforcement will also go away. Environmental reinforcement is of self-doubt, so I literally need to be my own army to dispel all the negativity, for which I need to start with my lack of skills being fixed. And the whole circle, the whole triangle, before I beat it, I will need some additional help, right? So skills, you can start with skills, and skills will help. Now, so this is what I spoke about, the evidence you will need. What evidence is there? Inquiries, clients, revenues. Okay, so how do you acquire the skills? Of course, I know that a lot of you will want to use the traditional ways. Some of you will want to try some new methods because you've tried the traditional ways and you felt that they did not work well enough. So what are the new ways you can try? So those of you who are interested in professional guidance, I can share some examples, okay, of how 𝗺𝘁𝗵𝗃's Master Access students benefited just in November. 250 hours of class on different areas of law, practical classes by subject matter experts at an average of 10 classes per day were delivered. 54 group coaching sessions were organized by evaluators. These are on the practical assignments that are done, that are given, and students struggle to perform these irrespective of the fact that they have 7, 8, 10 years of experience. There's those who struggle to experience to perform these, right from law students to practitioners. They got the benefit of 54 additional group sessions. And some people said, I can't understand in group, I need personal guidance also over and above that, because they were getting stuck somewhere. 428 individual coaching and doubt clearing sessions were organized to help with assignments. These were one-on-ones with evaluators and writing assignment coaches. Our team coached 80 were with the on writing articles. 190 plus, the number is between 190 to 200. Today is November 30th. We're still calculating. People are submitting for publication. 190 plus students actually published an article on blog.ipdas.in or elsewhere. Okay, so they moved one step closer to success. 35 jobs, 48 internships, 20 client opportunities were shared last month within our students. Okay, and our special offer for the 1-year Master Access program, which gives you access to all our coaches or the entire library of offerings that we have, except test prep and international university certified courses. Except for that, all our upskilling courses to build your career, build your practice, it's available for 50,000. Closest tonight. This offer at this price will not be available again. There is a loan option available which Bajaj Finance, and those who avail of it, you can pay a 12,000 deposit, pay that today. That is the down payment that Bajaj requires, and after that there is a 4,000 per month payment for 12 months. Okay, so the loan makes it 60,000, but 4,000 per month payment for 12 months makes it easier to finance. Even people, even students who secure internships through our help, from the second month they are encouraged. So all the recruiters are paying them 5,000 rupees. If they are bad, the internship is discontinued, but if they're doing well, 5,000 rupees is paid. So even with that kind of support, you can finance your EMI. And if you're getting new clients, which is the actual purpose, you are going to be targeting at least 10 times more value in the 1 year that you spend from the investment of 50,000 rupees. Don't lose sight of that. Okay, and there's a refund policy available on 𝗺𝘁𝗶.com website to reduce your risk. You can see the website and the conditions on which refund is available. You need to attend the classes of one course for the first month live and do all the assignments for that course in time. Okay, and then you can avail of this policy. Those who are interested can get in touch. If you recognize that the problem that I've been speaking about is correct, then you will identify, some of you may identify with the solution, right? And then you will take action. So this is the time to take action. For those of you who are interested, contact Astha Gupta, and her number is on the screen. I am also typing it, and she will get in touch with you for the enrollment link, because this offer is not available on the website. This is available only to those who spoke to us who attended this webinar. Okay. So yeah, with that, I'm happy to take questions. The number is mentioned on your on the chat box, and so those who are interested, reach out to her for the payment link. She will share it with you. Now I'm going to address the questions that participants have asked me. Can I focus on technology startups as a solopreneur, or do I need to hire people in the beginning itself? Ruchi, start start working on your own till you realize that there is work that is repeatable and delegable. Okay, until then, you will work on your own because you don't want to build up costs unnecessarily. Okay, so you don't need to hire people in the beginning. Until your revenues hit around 1.5 lakh to 2 lakh, you will not need to hire anybody. Ruchi, how can you get a chance to work with us or talk to us? You can speak to us. Okay, we can schedule you. Please speak to Astha. Sumit, you guess that industry sector knowledge could be useful for useful for 1 second, rendering corporate advisory. And you said that you believe that it's much law-centric and not industry-centric, such as IBC litigation, writ petitions, and criminal laws. So if you are focusing on a forum, then you become law-centric and forum-centric, okay? But then your sources of clients change. You will have to look at all the lawyers from other forums plus direct clients to give you work related to the subject matter, okay? But what approach I'm talking about is of, you can say, direct to client or D2C, which is direct client facing. If you are doing that, then you will have a range of things to offer apart from just local forum work, apart from the forum specific work. Okay. So you want to focus on building a package which enables clients to see that a lot of my legal needs at the stage of business that I am in will get sorted. And if you don't have expertise in specific forums, then you can refer the work to specific off counsels or advisors on your team. But make sure that you know enough so that you don't lose the client because that's a big insecurity for independent practitioners, and a very valid one, because clients tend to go away then, or they will only speak one-on-one to your specialist advisor if they have matters related to that, and you may not want that, right? Chaitanya, these things help a criminal lawyer because all these laws that you're talking about, Chaitanya, tax has criminal arrest provisions, white collar, PMLA, Benami, all of Black Money Act, FSSAI, IP laws, there are criminal provisions, and you want to use in any case of commercial, in any case of work, you want to use criminal law in conjunction with civil. Wherever possible, you want to invoke criminal law proceedings. With most of the times, the way criminal law functions, criminal litigators are not focusing on specialized laws, and every law has a criminal provision. So you want to do the whole piece of white collar properly, for which you will need to know the regulatory statute, you will need to know the civil aspect of it also, the contractual aspect of it also, because if it is intentionally breached, then you can initiate criminal proceedings. So the civil and the contractual element will form a part of it when you create a case for a criminal violation, because you will draft your complaint and carry out your entire proceeding, give evidence in that way. Okay, anonymous attendee. Yes, is it possible to cater to clients for corporate advisory with no prior experience? Yes, provided you know the industry pain points, because you are literally creating demand and need. You are making a client experience the need for it. Imagine the Apple iPhone. Okay, when the first iPhone was launched, there was no survey to say that there was no survey in place to say that all the customers who use mobile phone, all the users, they want more screen space. No, Steve Jobs said that you're wasting half of your screen space. Let's put the numbers on the screen. Okay, and that's how the touch screen was invented, right? So that's when, and people felt that this was valid. This demand was just created by that. So a lot of times you will be speaking to people and the client won't know that 20 other things got created by you because you were on the call. And the client realized, oh my God, I need all these 5-6 things sorted. Okay. Anonymous attendee, please don't approach corporate houses to empanel yourself. Let them give you enough work, and then let them think how to figure out their costs and stabilize their costs, and they will approach you to empanel you on their okay, for all the legal work. Okay, anonymous attendee, hope that addresses your question. Saurabh Raman, tier 3 cities have a small challenge. Clients come for price discovery and don't come back. Look, this works everywhere, okay? Clients come for price discovery everywhere. And what you want to do is that you want to convert that conversation into one where they are looking at the value. Okay, I swear on God, most of us are not talking about enabling the clients to see value. And if they don't come back, you're sure about it, na? Please empower your client with 5 questions to ask every other lawyer. Okay, and tell him not to come back if he's satisfied with any answer. And if he's not satisfied with the answer, then tell him to come back to you at the end because you will give an answer. Okay, give them 5 questions they should ask other lawyers to which the answers are not present in your court. Okay, those are not technical questions. Don't ask them, give them questions they can research and figure out. Say what is going to happen if this gets stuck. Okay, that's it. Now somebody asked on chat. Now the chat is fired up. Shabnam, how do you make a resume? Most of the times the client will come to you first and the resume will only be a formal process. Okay, but we help our students in doing that. It will require a separate session to do this, to explain this in detail to you. Prakhar, it will be written that you attended this webinar. It's written in the terms and conditions that you will get a written certificate for this, right? Then if an advocate has nice writing skills but is poor in speaking English, then you can look up our website. In the Master Access and English course is covered, where you will get trained in listening, speaking, communication, and grammar skills, all of them together, and you will get help in building your profile online as a lawyer. But if you want, you have a separate 1-year English communications course. You can take that separately, or you can save your cost through the Master Access directly. Okay, how to get the first. Okay, Shabnam, and if you want to inquire further, you can get in touch with Astha. How to get the first corporate client? Same way, we can do a separate webinar on it, but this method that I said, at some point, which is going to be usually 1 to 3 months, if you're doing this work properly, you will get multiple incoming inquiries, and then you will need 1 or 2 rounds of calls with somebody in our team to handle that stage of the matter. And after that, you will be able to convert one client. Okay, so you have to do the work in the courses, and you have to give time to your credibility building. Our team is instructed to give you a lot of articles focused on your practice goals to write and to coach you, and you have to do the work of learning the skills in the courses. Every week you will have to attend the class and do the exercises, okay, for at least one area. After that, you post on LinkedIn. There are elements that are embedded to post on LinkedIn from the exercise that you've done. Okay, that will help you in generating clients and traction. Okay, that's your recipe. Whatever you do for your first client is what you will do for 100, 200, 300 clients. Okay, should individual lawyers share resume with clients? Firms have profiles. The individual lawyers must also build the same profile. Okay, to call it a resume or a profile, build a proper firm profile, because there will be things that you will not do. Build a profile of advisors, of counsels, all of that. Okay, all right, everybody, I hope you found value in the session. I'll just check if there are any pending unanswered questions. No, I've addressed everything. Some gateway services around testamentary law, Bijal, I will. Okay, so you can, gateway services primarily around training. Okay, so how to conduct estate planning, how to write your will, legal issues which come up at the time of getting your will enforced, all of that you can do. Okay, trainings are the best, Bijal. Kshitij, if you're already working with a PE/VC law firm and you feel overwhelmed by other lawyers, how can you work on solving the problem of self-doubt? Skill, right? The question is going to be skill, because you feel that they know more than you, Kshitij, and therefore you feel that there is no way that you can catch up, right? Shabnam, if you want to be a highly paid corporate lawyer, I really suggest you should get in touch with us, because what you are lacking is practical skills. If you've done your masters, you figured out that I want practical skills so that I can get a highly paid corporate job. That's the thing to figure out. Okay, all right, everybody, thank you very much for being in the session. This was absolutely fantastic. I enjoyed interacting with you all. Have a great time, and for those who want to grow your practice, remember the time to take action is now. The offer expires